we are. Doc from North America. Happy to hump day. It's just another fun-filled day. The Federal Reserve does its chit-chat today. They'll release whatever they release, and they'll tell us whatever they tell us, and I guess in the end result, they'll just hold up whatever they have to hold up. They're kind of like Atlas now. They just kind of hold the world up. Hold it up so it doesn't fall down. All right, and let's see. There you go. You can see the Swiss is moving up a little bit here today, so that means the dollar is a little bit stronger. Now we've seen the 10-year bond go from U.S. 10-year bond. That is, we've seen the 10-year U.S. 10-year bond move from one high fives, 157, 158, 156 over the last 5 or 6 days. Now it's trading. I sold this morning at one point. It was 164. Probably like 163 and change right around there at this moment in time. I've seen them at both prices. So interest rates are rising again. I heard the 7-year auction went off well yesterday. But what can you say? And that is what we're seeing. So let's just take a look at it. You see it on J4X. You see the very curious. Look at that. The way it just kind of hovers. Just like the white line is hovering against the dotted line. You see that there, and you can see the MACD trying to move up. You know, it's in a minus, and these lines are heading down. So I guess it's trying to tell us that it wants to try to move up. We'll see. We got a green going on there, just like we have a green going on there on Chicago Quant. Interesting action. So I guess we're seeing a little firmness in the dollar. The UUP is not plus yet. Let's check that out. We'll do that. That's something we don't usually do, is we don't look at a dollar. Remember, Doc does this, and I always say I'm Eurocentric or global-centric. In other words, I kind of look at the markets like as if you're looking at the markets. I don't look at it like I'm living in the United States and I'm looking at the markets as an American. I'm looking at them as someone who has to deal with the dollar. I need to put up with that thing, you know. That's, for us in America, we don't have to put up with the dollar too hard. It just does what it does. Whereas outside the United States, you have the dollar going up and down and driving you crazy, and doing all kinds of other wonderful things that you don't really want to have to go on when you go to buy a container of milk or a loaf of bread, or you need new tires for the automobile. You don't have the deepest desire to be a currency trader at the same time. Whereas here in the States, we rarely have to pay attention to that stuff. And you can see here, it's just on the edge. It is trying to lift up too, but it's still got a red dot going on there. Let's give it a refresh. This is the dollar index trading live at the moment, the UUP. And you can see there, plot 4 is 0.000. And plot 1 is 0.0000. So, it's basically sitting on the edge. You can see the weekly has tried to turn up. You can see the white line is trying to head towards the time manifold there. So, where's the time manifold there? Oh, there it is. Let's make them, let's see what we can do here. Make that time manifold a little bit deeper and richer in look. So we'll go with, make that purple. Not sure why it's purple, but seems good to me. There it is. And so you can see, wow, look at that tightness I got in there. Like the last time I did the tightness, it gave us a nice little leap up. That time it did us a leap down. Interesting when it gets that tight. Let's see what else is going on there. It does that, doesn't it? Look at it. Those little tight ones, I guess if you follow the dots to it, it's usually a winner chicken dinner, huh? We'll have to remember that. We'll keep an eye out on for that. Just shows you, like I said, I am, now this is a curious one. You get a green dot and it goes down. That's definitely unique in its own way. Let's widen that. Probably why I don't trade this product. And you can see here it even kept it in the buy. So that's a loser. Look at that. There's a loser right there. And then obviously it see, can you get short? Yes, you can get short. You can't get long. You can't be long here because you're in a weekly sell. Let's put that in there. So there's the weekly sell. So you're not trapped in it, so that's cool. So that's that combination, paying attention to the weekly, and then the daily and so forth, combined together. And there's a buy there. See, we really don't even look at this dollar index. I forget why we throw it up there, but it's interesting. It is more insightful and more profitable than we realize. All right, so there's where we are at the moment, and then you see here it goes into the buy. Look at it. See, this is the only trading for like 6.5 hours a day, so it really screws up the dots. So this is a buy. You can't get short in here, even with this action right there, because we're in a weekly buy. See that right there, all weekly buy. So you have to just sit and grin and bear it, and then it goes into the daily buy here, flips into a daily sell there. You can't take the short. Then it goes into a daily buy there, and then it makes buku money. That's Vietnamese for a lot. And then you see it go sideways again, and you're in a weekly buy, so you can't take any of this short here, even with it screaming at you. Look at me, I'm red. And it still does it. And then it goes into a weekly sell here off of that volatility thing. And it's been in a daily sell since like right here. So it catches that whole drive south, and then here you're allowed to be short. And it makes a few dinero there. All right, that's interesting. Never really looked at that before. All right, let's jump over to the euro. Euro is interesting this morning in the sense that it's pushing itself into the sell here. Was a little surprised. You know, we got a weekly buy going on, so it's just a digestion. In other words, profit taking. That's how that usually works. In other words, if you have something going up in value and people are long it, sooner or later they're going to sell some of it off because they got to take some money, because if they don't, Doc always used to have a saying in the webinars. He used to say, if you have a position on and you're making money and you don't, sell some, the next time you're selling it is when you're losing money. So in other words, if you're making money, you better sell some. And that's what it comes down to. That concept of let your profits run and all that other goofy stuff, that's long-term, like real long-term. And I hope you marry options to it or binaries, because, it's that idea was invented when stocks and currencies moved almost at no rate, no volatility at all. Stocks would move a quarter or half a dollar a year, not an hour. Same thing with the currencies. They were fixed and they stayed steady with Bretton Woods and all that. That's when they could say, let your profits run. That's because they knew that there was no volatility, there was no selling to worry about. But now that there's volatility, watch out. Can't see. Oh, what can't you see? Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. There we are. Yeah, I was looking at the dollar index. The UUP, the one that just trades as the ETF. Interesting action there. There it is. Let me go back and take a look at that again with you, like that. So it only trades 6.5 hours a day on this screen. So it's not exactly. The dollar index itself, the futures one, is probably the better one since it's a 24-hour product. But we use this one just because of the sake it's here and it's worth showing. How you doing today, Middle Age? Anything going on? You just got back from an alligator show? All right. Let's see now. Like I said, I'm a little surprised with the euro moving down the way it is. Let's see what it looks like in J4X. And there it is there on J4X. You can see it bounced off right there and stayed up. And now it's making another attempt to go after the dotted line there. And you can see here on our work, it's broken through the zero line and putting a little pressure on it at the moment. But again, we're sitting in a weekly sell, so don't be too fast to try to short it. Just take profits from the big long run, this big long run from here. So I mean, this thing has been running like happily up, and you got into a daily buy. It was in a daily buy here. You should have ridden some of this out, and depending on how you trade. And the same thing, another one here. Try to take a little of the profits in here. In this case here, by the time it got into the buy, let's see what happened there. By the time it got into the buy, it just barely had any profits. It went to closed at 120.97, and the high is 121.6, basically 17. So it's it's like 28 pips or something like that. That's a profit. It makes money. Let's see. Watching silver pretty close, waiting for your daily quant to cross the green. Yeah, it's really sloppy. Check this out. That's gold there, but let's just take a look at the May. Where's that? Move that arrow around there. There we are. Yeah, you can see here. Slid into the daily sell last night, and this morning they've done a smackadoodle. But again, the weekly's in a weekly buy, so it's really just telling you to be, flat unless you're trading binaries or options, and then obviously that sell signal at the 2632. If you did options or binaries on it, it went down to 2584. So what is that? That's 2632.84. 16. That's about a half a dollar. There was a half a dollar to be had in there if you're trading binaries or options. But if you're trading the hard delta, then it's just stand to the side. Keep the married men and women married men and women traders who have children off the trading floor. Yeah. Alrighty. Now we can, since we're here, and then we'll go to sterling. But since we're here, there it is right there. You can see gold doing the same thing. Same thing. Having a little weakness in there. More than likely, it's just taking profit from this action. We'll see. Look how this curved. But then that was in a weekly sell, so that was all right. Now, this might not have much life to it, and they may just start to turn this back up again. We'll just wait for the next daily buy to join in with the weekly buy, and then, trade the upside again. All right, now let's drift back over to currencies, and here is the cable. The cable held up in this needs to be above its opening here, but it's going to be pushed into a daily buy without a doubt. On the webinar, we throw that on the spreadsheet. We just throw a 1 in there already. So on line 13, you're seeing a 1 in there for the daily buy. We put that in there last night, and it's obviously not doing the best of worlds, but it's in a weekly buy and it's still in a daily buy. So we'll see if this thing gets going again on the upside here. 42. Isn't that the answer to life too in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Universe? 42. So I have a play of words on there both ways. And then we jumped to Turkish lira, which really went into the daily sell there yesterday and it's taking a dive. Not too much of a dive, but it's a little bit lower than it was yesterday. And we're still in that weekly sell. And boy, look at that. I don't know what's going on there. That whole currency, that whole situation, the Turkish lira and the politics and all that stuff is really noisy. I would imagine that, the margin, I've tried trading it, the margin's like 60, 70%. And it's very, very tenacious. And the risk factor is so high and the options are almost non-existent. So there's no binaries that are existent. So basically, it's only people who want to trade this thing is that live in Turkey solely because they're forced to. Speculation-wise, I wouldn't want to be involved in that product, unless I had to be involved in that product. Then we go over to Canadian right there. And the Canadian in that daily sell now for a few days here, or a week and change now, and a weekly sell for a week plus, going for 2 weeks. You can see a little volatility signal kicking out there today. And we are basically, let's do that again. We're going to reload that. And we're basically, oh, look at that. Lost the red dot, and now it's just kind of just cruising there. But we're just looking at this and saying, okay, that made new lows today from the last couple days. I don't think it challenged this low right there. Let's see what that is. That low was 23.65. Today's low is 23.82. And the low there is 23.84. So it made a new low today compared to like the last month, but it's not really falling that far or hard. Yes, indeed. Now, let's see. Let's go over to, and at the same time, because it's sideways, we're assuming obviously oil is firm and up sideways. That's the way we're looking at it. Now let's check out the NAS CAD, or the loonie trade right there. New Zealand against CAD. Trying to perk up today, so we're figuring oil should be a little bit firmer here today. And I did see oil firmer last night. I did post it on my LinkedIn. So I'd imagine that it's still holding up firm somewhere along the line here. You can see it's through the weekly buy here for the last couple of weeks. So now what we'll do is we will drift to the crude oil. We'll go look at the energy complex. And you can see right there it's holding up pretty well. Pushing up. Daily buy for a few days. Let's reload that. And a weekly buy for 1 week. Acting pretty well in there. Then Nat Gas. Last we saw Nat Gas, it was at like a 4-week high, 5-week high, 7-week high, something like that. Let's see, when's the last time it was up here? Not since February. That's pretty good. Over 2.5 months, and it's going after the highs. Whatever's going on, traders, you know, you've heard Doc talk is crazy. As far as Doc's concerned, we're heading for another ice age. From the science side of it, NASA's saying it. Who else is saying it? We're seeing it from a couple of different places. The media just won't talk about it because they're into this global whatever they call it. But to me, I always try to remind them that they're just talking about weather and they have no control over it. But yeah, something's going on. Look at that move from the 250 area to almost the $3 area over a 4-week period. Look at that. 2939. So it's almost 294, heading for the $3 range. Wowzer. And we've been in a daily buy for that whole move up right there. And we've been in the weekly buy too. So it's been the winner chicken dinner. And then let's see, what other energy do we look at? Oh, we look at the robo, the gasoline. There's talk around here about a squeeze in gas inventories. I don't know, we'll see. You can see here it's trying to go into a weekly sell. And you can see it's fighting to be in a daily buy. We had a volatility signal there yesterday, and you can see today we are pushing up. Let's give it a refresh. There it is right there. Oh, look at that. That refresh wiped out the red dot. And so we are now, that's saying that it's in a daily buy since right here, like so. I don't know if I've refreshed this. No one's following it. So, I mean, every day we look at it. Oh, look at that. The weekly now is flatlining. Yeah, we don't have any clients chasing after this, and no one asks about it. Why can't I get the numbers here? Maybe that's it. There we are. So, there it is right there. So right there is in a buy, and right there is, ooh, just look at that, plot 1. And that is trading at minus 0.00004. Woo, doggy. Tell me we're not measuring incredibly small increments? I mean, we're looking at this stuff through the atomic level. All right. So there we are. That is the other of the energies, the 3. And it's showing, that the gas oil or gasoline, however you want to describe it, is kind of going sideways. And this is what? The June contract, right? So we're in April. So the June contract doesn't expire, I don't think, until like mid-May. Remember, the energies, for some reason, because of delivery and so forth, the mechanics of it all, like an April contract in crude oil expires in March. And then they have weeks to try to set up the delivery for it, because they take physical delivery of this stuff. All right, from here, what we do is we zoom back to the currencies unless there's a question. And then we go right to the ruble. Boy, I saw a really nice article this morning. It said, Biden has the opportunity to heal the rift between the Russian Federation and the United States. The question is he capable of doing so? And I say no, he's a moron. So forget about it. But I like how the currency is trying to move down. That's a good thing. You can see it's been in daily sell for, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days now in a sell. 11 days in the ruble sell. Let's see, where's it at? Now, why does it say 4 on the spreadsheet there? It should say 11. Let's fix that. How did that happen? Sometimes I hit the wrong keyboard, honestly. Not 114, no. Just 11. Right there. Today's the 11th day. And so, actually, it should be 10. Until the end of the day, and if it closes there, then it's 11. And then, at the same time, you can see here the weekly is doing a little piercing on the downside here and playing with the 0 line, like so. Right there. So, we've got this thing trying to... Maybe, you know, I heard Mr. Putin had told the troops, come on home, half of yous or a third of yous. Just as Mr. Biden was giving the what for to the Ukrainians, telling them, oh, they need to be more aggressive. Oh, God. What a circus act. It's all like for profit. That's all it is. It's a war for profit. These Democrats are just warmongers. All right. Let's jump over to... Let's see. Now we'll look at the Mr. and Mrs. Yen. That jumped into a daily buy yesterday. There it is. You can see it there. It's marching north. But, again, we're still in the weekly sell. Let's give it that refresh. Like so. There we are. No real, no change in the weekly. Just it just tells you that after this big, long sell-off, don't be short anymore. That's what it's really just screaming at you. Don't be short. And you're going like, yeah, but look at it. It's in a weekly sell. And it's like, yeah, but it's in a daily buy. So what is that, traders? That's a neutral. That's what that is. Indeed. And then there was one. We go to the peso, the Mexican peso. And as you can see right there, it has been in a daily buy for 1 full day, going on a second day right there. Let's give that a refresh. We were wondering if it's going to roll over like it has before, especially with it being in a weekly sell. But 2 green dots in a row. Ooh, we haven't seen something like that since this big top. That's interesting. And it was then it went right into a weekly sell, and we saw this thing slide like almost a full peso. It's a very stable currency, looking pretty good there. Kind of very impressed. Glad we're paying attention to it more often now. It's interesting to see how it reacts to this whole thing. Especially how it acts well against the dollar. It's kind of interesting. All right, now, let's see. That is the Mexican peso. So from there, we go and we look at the metal complex, which we've already done with middle age. And we looked at the energy complex. So what we'll do is we'll zip-diddy-doo-dah to, let's see, where do we go from here? We go to, let's see, let me just double check something here for a second. We go to the, there it is. Let's see if we can find this. What we do is we head over to the cryptos. So let's take a look at, right there. Oh, interesting. We have the dollar in there too. And then so what we do is there is Coinbase. See, we're building up some steam here. Lots of red dots so far. Oh, look at that. There was a volatility signal there yesterday. Let's give that a refresh. And then let's check out the, I think we have a shorter term one too, right? There it is right there, the 396. And you can see it tried to get into a buy there, but did not do too well. And kept it down, fell $2 again. And then it tried to get into buy here, and it didn't. But it did get in a buy right there on this one right here. And it didn't do too good a job either way. Gave us a volatility signal the next time. And it still stayed in a buy here, giving you a chance at least to get out or try to take a small, teeny-weeny little profit compared to the buy, which was, where was that buy? Right there. So the settlement was 304.92, and I don't even know if it got to it. And that one, it did not, 304.86. And then the next one was 304.94, just 2 cents above. And it still vacillated and giving all kinds of warnings here. We'll probably, let's see, what is this? This is 396. So, and then it broke down right there. right there off of this one. And then, ooh, what happened there? Let's bring that down. Let's fix that. Format indicator. And let's format that. Properties, bottom, bang, close. All right, and then let's see, where is it? Right there. Around lunchtime, it went into the sell at 303.42, giving you plenty of time not to be long in here with all those warnings. And then once you get a clean shot, there's your sell right there. And it was at 303.42 on the Coinbase. It collapsed, went down to 301, so it made $2 in a matter of how long did it take? 12:30 and 33 seconds to 12:45. So it was 15 minutes. Took 15 minutes and made $2, which on 100 shares of stock is $200. And if you're trading the binaries or the options, it's even more profitable from there. And then you can see it was in a sell throughout that whole adventure, not giving you any volatility signals or stand clear from the volatility signal. Then here it gave you the warning that it was taking off again, and it did. Put you into the buy here at 302 and a half. And it ran to 303.80, so it made a buck and change over. Let's see, from 15:20 to 18 minutes. Nice. And so now you can see right here this morning it's lifting up a little bit here because it settled last night at, is that the last night? Yeah, that's the last night. So it closed at 302.11 and it's still in the sell, and it has run all the way to 303.82. Interesting action there. We'll see how that goes. It looks like it's trying to bring itself back down into here. Now let's check out Bitcoin. See what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin right there, the April contract, which is basically up a little bit. 55. I remember, what was it? Last night I was showing that to somebody. It was at 55,000 even. So it's up 230 some odd dollars. You can see that's. See, let me move that over a little bit. You can see it right there, trading at 230, 55,230. So it's just kind of hovering around, and it's flirting with the daily sell as we speak, with the red dot no less, and the histogram and the green line trying to go minus. Right there, it's minus $11.67. So the pressure is on the downside there. All right, so with looking at the crypto, what I was going to say, there was something else. Somebody came out with something on the Bitcoin. Someone made a really good statement that was well worth listening to. They were saying that, again, they're saying, I'm trying to remember who it was. I heard it this morning. They were saying, this is a new type of equity that has inflation incorporated in it. And that's really a good thing because, that the old complex was gold and silver was the inflation factor. And, we've seen what happened there. That's just not happening anymore. It's just not the inflation fighter that it used to be. So it's kind of disappointing. It's made gold traders and silver traders very nervous. Rightfully so, of course. You're what did we just lose there? That was mouses. And so, when you see stuff like that, you got to wonder, will there be will it come back? That's the bigger question. Will the metals market become more receptive to inflation? I guess it has to get extreme. It has to get really, really excited to the point where people start to get nervous. And I think that's what really is going on here is people are moving into the cryptos and steering clear of the metals market until they actually see some real consistency. Not this stuff where it goes up $100, sits there dead, and we see all kinds of weird statistics that show how the economy is definitely. I mean, if anybody out there reads Grant, and I get hit by all the old heads from the trading floors. They're hitting me with the old-fashioned stuff. Matter of fact, what was my answer to one of them today? I emailed one of them back. Let me see if I can find it. just for the curiosity of what I said. I thought it was really good myself. But where's that mouse at? There it is, right there. And that sent. Let's see. Here it is. I'm looking for it now. No, that's not it. Right there. Disregard. There it is. All right, let me open that up. And what I sent was, they sent over Grant, and my answer to it was, let me see, where is that? Sent. So that must be it right there. Yeah, there it is. I said, Grant, yeah, like all us veteran market people, we see the crazy coming. That was my answer. I know it's kind of cryptic, but they sent me over this stuff about Middleman Chronicles, chips and dips, and after the boom and middlemen. I mean, it's just talking about the chaos that we're watching, in the marketplace, what happens with the metals market and so forth that we're all frustrated over. So, it's like, yeah, all of us old veterans, we see it. We're just not happy about it, but there's not much we can do about it, and it doesn't really matter. No one's really listening. So, all right, let's zip over to from here, from the cryptos. What we do is we look at the stock indices. So let's see, which one is it? It's right there, yeah. So there it is right there. You can see the Russell is flirting with a daily sell, but we're in a weekly buy still. We'll see. This is definitely a plateau. Now the question is it going to base and take off? I've been getting all those weekly new wave signals. I've never seen that many in a row. It's just massive. It's 6 out of the last 7 weeks. It's just massive. So, I think something's brewing. I don't know if they're trying to remind us that May is coming and the old classic sell in May and go away. And you can see here, at one point this morning, we were there. We were in the sell. Now you can see there's a green dot going on. And this is the S&P 500. And it's lifted back up again here on our gas line indicator, or quant, right there. So, we're just not seeing a real clear picture. That's the problem. And then the Dow Jones Industrial Average is in a daily sell for like the last 3 days, which is kind of curious. It hasn't gone anywhere, really. I mean, it went into the sell at the 33,889, and it's trading at 33,825 at the moment. So, I mean, it's only like 60, 70 bucks off. That's nothing for a 33,000, almost a $34,000 index. So that's where we are with that stuff. Maybe this is the beginning of something. Look at all that capitulation in here. Long, short, long, short, long, short. I mean, maybe we're going to get, some type of sell-off in here like that. I'm getting all those green dot new wave signals. The green dot new wave signal that I developed back in 1980. I've back tested it on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, even way more further back, all the way going back another 90 years. So, I don't know, something's brewing here. We'll see. I think collars are the answer myself. I said that last week. Put on some collars and just let them sit. Put 3-month collars on, and you can go to bed at night knowing, what are you going to do? Lose like 3% of your portfolio at worst? Why lose 30% when you can only lose 3%? Take that cash, and you can buy more. That's really what it comes down to. So if you have collars on, then what happens, or you set up option binaries, you can take those profits, buy more equity with it. All right. Now what we do is we drift over to the last of the 4 indexes that we follow. And that one, I was really thinking, I would really thunk this. I thought that maybe this would lead us, but instead it's turned up. And this is the Russell 2000. There's the all-time high right here. So it's been having an issue about getting up, whereas all the rest of them have been playing with their all-time highs. This thing really took a pounce on the downside. And this looks like your classic A right here. That's a A. So we can do that again. There's your A. And this is like your B. And maybe it's just going to go smash a doodle. And let's see, where could it go? I guess it could go down into like the 19s again or something like that. I don't know. I mean, it got pretty close. It got to 21 last time and broke underneath 21. These are the weakest of the stocks in a inflationary or what's the best way to describe it in a asset inflation universe that we're in, where all the assets like lumber is like $12 and $13 a board foot, and you've got something like Whirlpool trading at $200 a share, and you got some really crazy numbers popping out. You really want to try to figure out what is really undervalued, and you have to believe nothing is. It's all just one big giant inflation of the assets. Just the way we saw, was it beans were at 15.50 old crop yesterday, day before, 15.50. Wow. I mean, it just doesn't give up. I mean, it's like asset inflation in every direction, minus gold and silver, which is, the inflationary tools. People are wondering, like, what's it going to take for these metals to do something, join the game, get into the game. And they're not doing that. They don't get into the game. All right. So there are the 4 indices. And we got plenty of time here. No one's asking any questions besides middle age a few times there, and that was it. So let's see. Where else can we head over to now? Take a look at the grains. Grains have been fascinating. I'm interested in looking at them. We got a lot of clients. We got a lot of farmers doing stuff in them. So why don't we take a look at the grains? I think it's fascinating myself. And then if someone cares about a currency or a metals or something like that, we'll go look at it. But instead, I'm just going to jump over to the grains for a little bit, just because to show you that asset inflation that we keep on seeing. And not many. I mean, we see some people talk about it on the media. I don't really watch a lot of media anymore. They don't make a lot of sense, so I don't listen to them. But you can see here, here's the soybeans. This is old crop soybeans. No further back than yesterday, it got as high as $15.82. Wow. And this is the May contract. Then let's take a look at the new crop, which is November, right there. And its high yesterday was $13.68. So like almost a $2 spread in that thing. And you can see it's still holding up, but it has sold down a little bit here today. You can see that. And you got to wonder, when are we going to start seeing these things go through the, I guess, the food chain, I guess you say. In other words, when are we going to start seeing more increased prices of commodities? Now, luckily, we grow 25% of the beans in the world. So, we pretty much, our producers are not having much of a problem right now. They're going to have a little bit more of a problem going into next year with the old crop up already in the 13s. And then as it becomes scarce, if it becomes more scarce, it'll find beyond this 15 and 16 area. It'll be wild. They'll find a way to put a couple dollars into it. And so that's, it's supply and demand. Unless Mr. Biden does some crazy thing. Who knows? I mean, he's crazy. Crazy boy. Alrighty. Now let's drift over to the corn complex. And there is corn. Look at corn. It's not looking back. Corn is that's old crop corn, and you can see there it's hanging around. Today's high is $7.09 a bushel, and you can see yesterday's high was $7.06 a bushel. So it's literally 3 cents higher. So there's a lot of demand. You can see still in that weekly buy since the 550 area. This thing's going up $1.50 over a month. Wowski. Then we go and look at the July. Let's take a look at July. There it is right there. And July is kind of like part of the old crop situation, and then kind of married to the new crop, because I'd imagine down in below the I guess Carolinas. That's what I'm thinking. I would imagine Texas and Carolina and places like that, corn must be starting to yield. We must be getting closer. So this must be representing some of that. I mean, the bulk of the corn is new crop in the United States at this point. So You can see here it's hanging around the 642 area, which, what is that? Is that like a dollar difference between the old crop? Right, there's it right there. And 6.99, so it's a half a dollar basically. So July, right there. So it's trading basically a 50 cents underneath. You can see the pressure on this with a red dot, but the weekly's very firm here. And then we're going to drift over to something real fun and exotic, and that'll be the December corn. Let's look at that corn. Christmas corn, which will be the new crop, which is probably going to be just like 20 cents cheaper than July. So I'm just guessing it'll be in the 620s. So let's find December corn. Where are you, December corn? There you are, right there. Forget the 620s. Look at it. It's 546. So it's trading a dollar underneath July, and almost where's May? And May is 6.99, so it's $1.50. Interesting. Interesting marketplace. Really interesting marketplace going on here. And then let's see what else we got going on there. Let's see. I'm looking for something here. There it is. And so then what we're looking at is wheat for bread. I mean, no doubt, you know, soybeans and corn, they slide into a lot of our food staples. But wheat, we all know what that is. You know, that's the cookies and the breads. You know, it's all that stuff, you know. That's exactly what it is. So let's take a closer look at that. And let's see, which mouse is that? There it is. And there is May wheat pushing into a daily sell at the moment. Actually, it looks like, did it do it yesterday? Yeah. How about that? All right, so we need to put that in there like that. There we go. And get rid of that thing. So you can see the pressure on that. I mean, it's not deep, but it's trading in the $7+ of a bushel. So, and I guess some of you out there might be saying now, how many bushels are, you know, it's a quantity. You know, a farmer gets about 175 to 225, depending on the quality of the field and so forth, of corn. So you get just 1 acre yields almost 200 bushels. For soybeans, depending on, again, the quality of the field, you know, it can be in the 50s and the 60s. I've seen as high as 70s, and I've seen as low as the 30s. But that's because they keep on they don't rotate the crops, that type of thing. Poor management. So, and then wheat can be in the 60s and 70s on bushels also at the same time. I've seen as high as 85, 90. That is what we see around here. And so that's, but it's in a weekly buy also, wheat. And then we have, that is May wheat. Let's look at, what other wheat do we have in here? We have another wheat in here. We have the July wheat. So that would be, I guess, remember, winter wheat is growing right now. So this is all turning into new crop. And probably old crop and new crop seem to be banging against each other with no problem. And then we have red wheat, where wheat for cookies and cakes versus bread. So that is the answer to that. Let's do this. Close that. There we are. So that's the action we're seeing here. Where'd it go? There it is right there. And that's red wheat. And that's Kansas City or Minneapolis wheat. There we are. So then what we do is now we look at the meat side of it. Let's look at cattle right there. Let's go to the first cattle. We're going to look at June cattle for hamburgers and steak, of course. Right? Where'd it go? Right there. You can see it's been on a daily sell here and pressing down pretty aggressively. Been in a weekly sell since here. And we've fallen from the 125s a pound down to $1.15 a pound. So we've dropped 10 cents a pound there. And then that is June cattle. Let's go take a look at, let's see, where's it at? We can go to December cattle right there. You see December cattle doing the same thing, been in a sell, has not been able to get into the buy, even with it bouncing off of the 124s back up to 128, and is now trading at 126. So you can see that they're doing a what they call a, it's not a contango. The back months are definitely more expensive than the front months. And then we look at cattle all the way back to, we can look to it. We look at February cattle right there. February cattle is trading in the 130s, 129.50. Again, it's contango. Matter of fact, it wasn't a daily buy there for a couple of days and found a way to go up from the 129 area to the 131 a pound. But today they're putting some pressure into it. Or no, that's last night. So they started putting some pressure into the hamburgers when you go out to get a hamburger or a steak. Now what we do is we look at the little babies. You know, just the feeders. That's what they call them. They're feeders. And we'll look at May feeders. Someone was saying to me a couple of days ago, or was it last week, how cheap feeders are. So in other words, you like we have a lot of, you know, this is cattle country here in southern New Jersey. So we have some dairies and we have a lot of cattle and floating around here and all that. And so, matter of fact, my town used to have more cows than it had people. And you can buy a calf for like, you know, $7-8, no problem at all. So, and then they grow, and you got to feed them, and you got to give them some injections or, you know, some food, you know, something that keeps them healthy. And so the next thing you know is that you know, you're watching your steaks grow out in the backyard there, out in your little pasture, and that's how that works, which is kind of fascinating. All right, so there's a little flavor of what's going on in the food staples, I guess you could call it. And that's really what it is. It is the food staples. So hamburger and wheat and corn and soybeans, and for those that follow bacon, I'm going to show you that too. Here is hogs. Hogs are holding on pretty firm. There is live hogs for June. Is that it right there? Yeah, no, that's June cattle. Let's find the hoggies right there. There it is, right below it. There we are. They've been pretty stable. $1.06 a pound. You know, flirting with buys in a weekly buy. Never really went into the sell. You know, hogs have gone just over the last 3 months. They've gone from the 85 cent a pound all the way up to almost the was that the 110 area? I think that's 110 right there. Yeah, to 110 a pound. That's the bacon and so forth, and pork chops and so forth. That's that active a marketplace. All right, that's just a quick look of the food staples. You know, like I said, we don't really feel inflation here in the States, but because we are productive in the sense that we can produce almost everything we need in this country, and I know that our manufacturing isn't what it used to be, but it is still pretty powerful. And it doesn't take much to turn our production around and get things really going. Mr. Trump did that. It was very productive society. We've seen the lowest unemployment numbers in history in America because of it. Now let's drift over to, where do we go from here? Anybody want to see anything? Middle age, you up for anything? You want to see anything particular? It just seems like a quiet day again. Everybody's just kind of kicking back. Let's see. Just double checking some stuff while I'm asking those questions. If not, that's all right. I can go look at other things. Trust me, I have plenty of things to look at. I can go look at other stuff. Like How about the top stocks? In other words, the top stocks of the world, like or at least top stocks in the United States. And right there is your favorite rocket man, the Tesla. That's what that is. That is Elon Musk's operation, Tesla stock. You can see here it's slipped into a daily sell for a couple of days. At the where did it go into the sell? Went into the sell at the $738 area, and you can see it's drifted all the way down to today. It's trading live there. What did I say? 738, and it's trading at 695. So it's down about $40. But you can see we are in a weekly buy now for 2 weeks now, or going on a second week. That's for sure right there. Let's put that there. It's been kind of sideways, the Tesla stock. It's not exactly exploding. And for a long while, it went into the weekly sell here in the $800 area and drifted all the way down to, what is that? That is $539. So it was like a $260 drop with that weekly signal for a couple weeks. And then, it started to dig its heels in and use $600 as a base, and it's climbed back up to the 800 area. And we're in a weekly buy now. We went into a daily buy here at the where was it? At the 701, 702 area, and we almost hit in 3 days. We almost hit we got up to 780 from 702, and then you can see here did we get into a sell there, or is it that one? I think we actually did get into a sell there. We have nobody following this, so I don't fill this in much. So now, come on, let's do that again. There it is. So it went into the sell there, and then the next day it went right back into the buy again. No, it didn't, because it had a red and green. It wasn't until the following day right there. So that is the Tesla. That's kind of fun, huh? And then let's see what else we got going on here. Let's drift over to, unless someone wants to see a currency, we'll just take a look at Apple Computer. There's another interesting one. It's been in a weekly buy since the high 120s. Now it's trading in the mid 130s. And you can see we've been in a daily buy for a couple of days. And as we speak, it's flirting with the daily sell. Interesting. Nothing jumping out particularly. Oh, here's an interesting one. Amazon. There's serious talk of it going into the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the stock went up $100 overnight, is it? Closed at 2 days ago. It closed at 409, and no, it's not that high up, and it got up to 460. So, and then yesterday from the news, they had their earnings and all that stuff, and it did very, very well. And you can see we've been in a weekly buy since back here. Let's put that in. Again, we have nobody following. Excuse me, following this. So like that and that and that. And there's talk of what'll happen is that they'll take. I mean, that's a $3,400 stock. They'll do like a 10-for-1 split. That'll make it a $340 stock, and that'll go into the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which wouldn't surprise me any. Surprise it's not in there. And I think then that'll make it 7. I think I mentioned that on Monday. There's serious talk of that. So then it'll be 7 of the NASDAQ stocks are in the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I can't wait to see it when we get to 15 of them, where it's split 50-50. And then someday maybe we'll see it overrun it, and it'll be more NASDAQ stocks in the Dow Jones Industrial Average than there are New York Stock Exchange stocks. I don't know. It's like an evolution. Remember, that's a clock that's been ticking for almost 2 centuries. So it's kind of fascinating to watch that clock tick and see how it plays itself out constantly. At one time, the Dow Transportation Index was the most powerful, which has been making new all-time highs. And now the Dow Jones Industrial Average has been the major player. But it vacillates, when you see the Dow Transport's taking off, a lot of times the Dow Industrials take off with it, or they follow, let's put it that way. And then they have a third index, which is called the Dow Utility Index, which is 15. I think it's 15 utilities. And these are all marketing tools they've used to get people to pay attention to the marketplace over the years. Remember, at one time, equities were not exactly as popular. Preferred stock was a big thing, and bonds, they were the big thing because volatility and inflation wasn't a factor. And when volatility and inflation is not a factor, then you can go and buy bonds and things like that and get a bigger return on your money. And at the same time, be concerned about going out of business and getting the assets, getting your assets back. In this era, stocks can trade at bankruptcy prices and still be trading at hundreds of dollars. It's crazy stuff, really crazy stuff. That's look how many years Amazon went. Was trading at $1,500 a share, and it had no earnings for something like 15 years. And now they show an earnings all the time, and God knows they probably have a dividend. I'm not even paying attention to it. So same thing with Google. They went a long time without any earnings. Now they have earnings. And so we're in a very different era. It's a really unique time when it comes to trying to understand the whole marketplace and inflation and asset values. So, all right. Does anybody have an idea what we should call this particular webinar? Let's see. We're going to try to figure something out here. We'll have to come up with some name for it. I think maybe we'll call it something like, we've been looking around. We've been using some interesting names trying to be descriptive. So I think we'll call this GBP and Silver. Because we were looking at both of those at one point in this webinar, so we can easily, at the beginning of it in particular. All right. So this is Doc from North America saying arrivederci. We will catch you all tomorrow on Thursday. And happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Ta-ta for now, traders.